Hello, everyone. This is Jay Wicker from Real Estate Aholics, and I got my co-host here, Mr. Cody Cox. What's up, Cody?
Hey Jay, how you doing? Good to see you, my friend.
Man, it's good to be seen. It's good to see you as well, man.
I love it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we missed you 2 weeks ago, man. I know you was busy.
I had a
Um,
conflict, yeah, and
yeah,
I have maybe one more coming up. In fact, as I was talking out loud a little bit, in a couple weeks I'll be traveling, doing some business travel, going to a conference in Nashville, and kind of what I'm hoping to do is be able to broadcast with you live from Nashville.
yeah.
And at this what's called Diversify Mortgage Expo. It is a note conference there. Two days, 2 full days of speakers and networking and trade show and vendors, and it's a great experience. The first night we're there, we're going off site and doing a little axe throwing, which I'm going to stay out of the way, and then but we're hoping. I'm hoping that I can just join you live from the expo, and we'll go from there and see what sort of excitement we can bring.
Yeah, I think we had went live. I think you was in Mexico one time. I
Yes,
think it was
that's
Mexico you
right.
was in. We did go live from Mexico
Yeah,
at
how
one
fun
time.
is
So
that?
yeah, man,
Yeah,
you was on vacation, man.
right.
So that's a win. That's definitely a win.
Yeah,
So
that's right. I remember
yeah,
that. That was
yeah,
last August.
we definitely went live. So let's talk about that for a second, man. How is it? How important is that, man, to continue to invest in yourself by going to conferences? Because you've been doing this for a while, right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you know the stuff that you need to know in order
yeah.
to stay afloat and stuff there. But why is it important to continue to invest in yourself
Well, I
that way?
think it goes back to at least one thing that I think I've heard you say once before, and that is your network is your net worth. And so, the note community, which I am associated with, is kind of a smaller community. There's a lot of people that are wholesaling houses across the country, a lot of people that are doing fix and flips, a lot of landlords, of course, but the amount of people that are actually investing in notes, or as I say, have a note business, is a lot smaller than what those other, disciplines are. And so, it's important to keep in track and relationships and networking with the folks that are in the same type of industry that you are.
Yeah.
Because one of the things, I've been in the mortgage industry for over 40 years, and I have noticed that in the note industry specific, you learn something new every day. There's nothing static about it. And when the government gets involved and starts changing some of the rules and regulations, that often you find out about these changes and these differences by networking at these conferences with some of your peers. The other things that I find out there has to do with industry trends. And so, what we may have been doing 2 or 3 years ago may not be working in today's marketplace. And this is the place where all the like minded people are together, that you can find out what they're doing, what they see the trends are, what they see is going to happen in 6 months or 12 months or whatever. So, to keep current on all these different changes in the marketplace, I think it's important to be there. And so that's one of the reasons I go, is just to keep contact, learn some new things, and make myself available. And it's a way for me to give back. Coming up here when I go to Nashville, I've been asked to be a moderator on a pretty high-powered panel, and so that's one of my ways of giving back to this industry that's done real well for me. I can share the things that I've learned over my tenure as far as investing in notes and running a note business, to some of the people who are maybe newer into this avenue, and give them some of the insights that I've learned over there. Because we all learn, one of the ways we learn best, at least learn best, is from other people's mistakes. And
Yes.
that way I don't have to suffer the consequences of my own mistakes because somebody else has already done that for me.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
And see, this business, it's a people business, right? Your next
exactly.
deal, you don't know where your next deal is coming from.
Right.
So if you don't get in front of people, man, who are like minded, man, you can easily block your own blessings, so to speak, right?
I
And
agree.
another thing that you said too, man, is that what you was able to do last year may not be the same thing you're able to do this year, right?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
so when the pandemic hit a few years ago, right, the people who was out there killing it then probably thinking of they was doing things a certain way at that time may not be the same thing that you can do today, right? So you need to be updated and current with what's going on today, so you continue to elevate your business. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and so I would say this too. So you have people out there who are have just getting mentors or looking to get mentors or whatever. If these people was closing deals a while ago, and they ain't closed nothing currently, you have a wrong mentor, right? Maybe the
Yeah,
market
very
has
good.
passed that person by.
Yeah.
So
Because if your mentor is not adjusting with the industry, then
absolutely,
you're leaving money on the table.
you're leaving money on the table. Very important, man.
Yeah,
Always, 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 always invest in yourself. Right? You get
absolutely.
no greater return than to invest in yourself.
Yep.
No
Yep.
greater return.
Yep.
And I know you guys just started. Some of these guys are just starting off, right? Who don't have a lot of money. I understand that, but you have to be able to invest in yourself in order to get where you're trying to go. It just you have to, you
Yeah,
have to.
yeah,
So
and then it's that balance, and you've heard me say it almost every time I'm on one of your shows here, Jay, is that you've got to treat what you're doing like a business. You have to have a model, and you have to stay within your model, and your model has to be in writing. You have to know what you're doing and not go outside that model, because that's when you're going to lose money. And so your educational efforts need to stay within where you're at right there. And as soon as you maybe perfect that or get better at that, then you could add another branch to what you're doing. But you're as you've talked about before, you know, let's be a business. Let's approach it like a business. Let's not
yeah,
approach it like a hobby, because that's
yeah,
what it always will be.
yeah,
And everybody should have a business plan, they should have a strategic plan, and they should have a marketing plan. And all three of
absolutely.
those are different. They're not the same,
And not the
but
same.
they give you the roadmap for you to have a successful business. So that's part of that mindset that I hear you and the others talk about so frequently, is having the mindset to run a business and be successful.
Absolutely. So important, man. Get with like-minded people, people that go in the way that you're trying to go, or people who are already where you're trying to be, and get next to those people. Way that you can go about doing a lot of that stuff without sometimes spending a lot of money if you don't have it. Maybe
Yep.
see how that you see a hole or a crack where you can fill in to help that next person get where they're trying to go. And learn. And actually, tell them, hey, I just want to learn how to do the business, right? So
Yep.
figure out a
Yep.
way where you're useful. Because here's the thing: it's not a bad thing to be used, right? You just don't want nobody to misuse. So while you're starting off in this business or any business you're trying to do, man, be used by somebody. If you need to go out there to put out flyers for that person, if you need to go do this or whatever it is, bring that to that person that you're trying to learn from, man, and they see the value you're bringing to them. Chances are they're gonna give you more in return. Simple as that.
That's
More in return.
well said. Well said.
All right. So listen. Last week we talked about real estate syndication. We definitely miss you on that one, man. We
I
definitely
would
miss you
have
on that
wanted to be on that
one.
one.
I know.
Yes. My favorite, one of my favorite topics. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a lot of jewels that was dropped on that episode, man. A lot of them. So everybody that's listening here, please like, share, subscribe, guys. Hit that bell so next time we come on, you guys you'll see us, you'll be a part of it, and comment. That's always important. Also, if you guys can go ahead and jump onto Patreon as well. It's just $10 support the show, $10 a month. It's a lot of content on the Patreon as well, guys. All right, so listen, self-storage investing. Listen, this is what's interesting. I did like a little small ebook, or not, I guess you could say ebook or whatever, a little pamphlet basically on investing. It's been a long time ago, so I haven't really been focusing on it. I'm just getting back refocusing on investing in self storage, and I forgot about a lot of stuff, man. After doing some research, I'm like, okay, So here's the question, right? So what is self storage? What is a self storage in your mind? What comes to your mind when you think about self storage? I guess it's self explanatory, but what comes to your mind when you hear that?
Is that a question to me or to the
Yes,
group
sir.
as a whole? Well, for
Yes.
me, it's a place to put my junk. I mean, as we all go through, getting older, maturing, whatever you want to call it, we seem to have a tendency to accumulate stuff.
Yeah.
And my house isn't getting any bigger. And so I need a place to store that. And so as us baby boomers are getting a little bit older, and the next generation behind us are getting older as well, they need a place to put their stuff. And
Yeah.
so that's what self storage is all about. It's an additional storage place. It's not, you know, uh, sitting around so you can trip over when you're getting up in the middle of the night. You got to get that stuff somewhere.
Absolutely.
And so it provides that kind of opportunity. And one of the things that I find value in that is that almost everybody could use an offsite storage place.
Yeah.
uh, and so I know that everyone that I've ever seen or been associated with this, they're almost always fully occupied.
Yeah.
So, in a lot of ways, to that investor, especially if you have an on site manager of some sort, it provides almost a passive income opportunity by just sitting there and owning the property, having somebody take care of it for you, and the monthly rental deposits for the self storage go right into your banking account. So it's like a one of those again. And I'm always been a big deal. I talk about it when I'm with you almost every time about developing your passive income stream. This is one way to do it.
Absolutely. And we're gonna go a little further into that to show you how it can be really, really passive, truly passive. There's some ways to do that. And we'll go over a couple of those as well. So self storage that we talked about, man. Some people they get a lot of stuff and don't want to throw the stuff away. They're getting a bigger home, bigger property, so they can fit more stuff in it, right? And get
Right.
quality. Some people just hate to get rid of their things. It's simple as that, right? So here's the definition, right? So self-storage investing is the type of commercial real estate investing that involves putting money into self-storage facilities and leasing units to renters, right? So that's I got the okay. So that's basically what a self-storage is, man. They're everywhere. If you chances are everybody has used a self-storage before at one time or another. Everybody probably. If you don't, if you haven't, you know somebody who has. So everybody's using it. And nowadays, I mean, they still, they really not cheap nowadays, right? And like you just said a little earlier, Cody, they always probably, I say 95 to 100% occupied.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
it's a lot of money into it though, and it's gonna be
It's
interesting.
it's
Go
one
ahead.
of the tenets of capitalism,
Yeah.
supply and demand. If there's a demand on there and the supply is limited, then the monthly rental price can go up. So,
Yes.
yeah, a tenet
Yeah.
of capitalism.
So you think about these people, right? Who maybe in the pandemic time or who hit hard time because everybody dealing with some tough times right about now, right? So you think about the people who lived in a big home or who had multiple houses and for some reason they lost their job, they lost lost their home and they're living in apartments now, right? People so attached to their stuff, they're not looking to sell their stuff. They'd rather put it in storage. So sometimes that stuff can be in storage for a long time and they could be sitting there and just actually paying the storage for forever. It seems like right until they get their credit together, until they can buy another home. So it's self storage is not something to sneeze at. It definitely could be an opportunity for you. Of course, you make your money on the buy, but just diving into self storage, man, you can definitely put yourself in a great situation.
Yeah, and I think another a feature of a self-storage facility is the variety of what they are. The facilities are. There's ones that kind of like a bunch of attached garages. There's ones that you have to go inside and up an elevator, multi-story ones. I
Yep.
think one of the things that are extremely popular are the ones that allow for somebody to park their RV or their boat or any of
Mhm.
the other stuff. And so it provides a variety of places for somebody to store whatever their stuff might be.
Yeah.
And so depending on the type of property it is, where it's located, certain zoning situations, you could have all sorts of different opportunities for people to store their stuff in. So yeah.
Definitely a great opportunity because most apartment complexes you go to, especially if you're downsizing, even a lot of the houses that you see nowadays, man. Here in Texas, they have a lot of zero lots. So if you're a person, you have a boat, If you have an RV, if you have maybe 3 cars, because sometimes they're not letting you park on the street or whatever, you need a place to put your cars or whatever, your toys or whatever the case is. And even the let's say the drive-in, the drive-up garages or whatever. The garages is not big enough to put a couple cars in there because you're gonna scrape this a lot, man. So you got kids that have bicycles or whatever the case is. Sometimes you put those in there, so and they can really, if you're not careful, you can have not just one, you can have 2 or 3,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
So
seasonal machines like the
yes,
guys that have ski-doos or the
yes,
watercraft,
yes,
or up here there's a lot of the ski-doos, things for the snow type things, and so yeah, it provides all sorts of opportunity to store a variety of personal property that someone might have.
yes, yes.
So it works
So
real well for both parties,
it
really, when you
definitely
think
does.
about it. Yeah.
It definitely does. So we think about we talked about multifamily a couple of weeks ago, but this is kind of the same thing, because of course when you're looking at a deal like this, you want to try to get the last 2 3 years, all the paperwork, all the profit and loss sheet. You want to get everything to see exactly where this property actually stands at, see the occupancy or whatever the case is. And like we talked about, sometimes it's 5%, sometimes it's so full, but you still, when you buy a property like that, you want to calculate at least, I would say, 10% of vacancy or whatever the case is. But sometimes you got a waiting list to get in a lot of these properties. Not necessarily if and you would think not in a small town, but even in a small town, because
Yep.
a lot of times you may be the only person, only storage facility in that town. So everybody got to go through you, right? That could be a plus. That could be a huge plus. so that's good. That's definitely good. You're the only thing in town that people can, and even if it's another, everybody has limited in space or whatever the case is. So it's you and that next person, and you can raise your rates or whatever the case is, or how you see fit, right? So you
Yeah.
set the tone.
Yeah.
Set the tone.
Yeah.
So I would say, let's say about cap rate. So we're looking to buy one of these properties. If you bought a commercial property or whatever, kind of what cap rate we should be looking for. How do we get the cap rate? Or what is the cap rate? Did I spell that right? No, I ain't spell it right. Let me get that right. So we're looking at, as far as cap rate is concerned, I guess it all depends on the area. Of course, the higher you go, the worse the area is. You got to work. It's a whole nother things you have to worry about when you get a higher cap rate. So what we're trying to say, depending on where you're looking to get in California, you're looking at what's 5 or 6%, depending on where you're at or something like that. But in Texas, you can find you somewhere around 8 cap rate, 8, 9, or whatever the case is. To me, in Texas, that's a sweet spot. What do you think? What do you think, Cody?
Well, yeah, I think it is kind of area dependent, kind of what's going on as far as, what the area within where people reside at, the proximity there. I think Texas has probably got a good cap rate. California, I'm not sure. When I deal with the financing side of things on those, we don't really delve into cap rate, which is short for capitalization rate, is what that was cap rate means. And it really is kind of a measurement tool of what
Yes.
the profits are in comparison to the liabilities, excluding any sort of financing. And
Yeah.
so obviously the higher the cap rate, the little bit more profitable that might be from an income standpoint. You know, and I always think about, because I used to do a lot of construction, is kind of what the construction costs may be to develop a self-storage place. So cap rate would come into play there at a greater degree, because what's it cost to build me with the land acquisition and the various type of structures I put on it, versus what I can anticipate what my rentals will be on a unit basis. It gets a little complicated too, because some of these are 5 by 7 and some of them are 12 by 10, and those are going
Yeah.
to rent at a higher rate. So you can actually get pretty detailed and down to some brass tacks as you're going through the due diligence on developing what is my cap rate on this when I have 100 units and they're all different sizes.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a little bit of due diligence goes in there, but guys like you who like those kind of number things that
Yes.
deal with, commercial type properties, that's something that you have your analysis tool that you can plug in all those numbers and come up with what is the proper capitalization rate for that particular unit. It
Yeah.
also gives you the ability to compare what this one is versus what some of the other ones are around in the neighborhood, because there will be some competition in the smaller towns like you're talking about. You may be the only one or the one of two or three within an area, but when you're in a metro area like you are, there's a lot of different places. And so determining the cap rate will give you a measurement tool about, am I charging the right amount? Is it too high? Is it too low? Where would I need to set those at? So
Yeah. Yeah. See, right now, multifamily is on fire right now, and and a lot of new people who come into this industry. That's when they kind of focusing on the multifamily, right? And so if you're focusing on storage facility, you may be the only person, especially if you're in a small town, you may be the only one or two that's in that area that's looking at that property, right? Which means you stand to get a better deal because nobody else is looking at that property, right?
yeah,
So it can be a win-win for sure. So some of the things that you can do, man, in order to kind of see what the cap rate is in the area, man, of course you can talk to a realtor and kind of fill them out or whatever. Maybe talk to several different brokers or whatever case in that area. See what's going on. And like Cody said, if there's another property, another storage facility in that area, of course, you want to kind of look at their property as well. See what they're selling the property for, or rent them out for, or whatever the case is. Just do your due diligence when it comes to that. Now, I was just at the U-Haul store the other day. I think they had a 5x10 that was renting for, I think, like $75 or whatever the case is. It was somewhere around in that area. But this is what's interesting is that it was offering the first month free. So and in my mind, I was thinking, so why would they offer the first month free, not half off? Because they know chances are it's not going to be in there for 1 month. Like you may have a mindset, okay, I'm gonna have it set up in here for 1 month or whatever. But I think the average is probably 3 to 4 or 5 months or whatever that a person may have this stuff in the storage facility. So that's a huge deal. That's a huge deal. If everybody's coming in and standing there for 3, 4 months or whatever the case is, you're gonna make you some good money. That's why you have this waiting list to
yeah.
get into some of these places.
Yeah, and you just said something there that I thought was pretty important is the duration of somebody's tenancy is
Mhm.
a factor in your due diligence. I mean, if I give the first month free and that same unit I turn over 3 or 4 times in a year, then I'm giving up 3 or 4 months of rental income.
Mm.
And so that's all part of your calculation as far as cash flow goes. And see, I'm one of those guys when you deal with notes, is I look at cash flow as being what's important to me. Cap rate is just one measurement tool, and it shouldn't be the only measurement tool. And you should not base your purchasing decision or offer price based just on cap rate. And so all these other
Yeah,
things,
I
I
agree.
like to look at cash flow. And
Absolutely.
when I approach it from where do I need my yield to be,
Mhm.
and then work backwards from there based on my analysis of the cash flow, the cap rate component in that to figure out, because these are all calculated value wise based on that cash flow, not so much a value of the land or whatever, like typical residential valuations come out. It's not a comparable type calculation. It's based on what the cash flow is of that particular property or asset. So all those things are a combination together to help you in your due diligence to calculate, what am I going to offer on this? What do I think is a fair price?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So true. Cap rate is not, I mean, although you should consider it, but it should be your number one goal. Number one thing that check when you're dealing with problems like this. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. So that matter of fact, that runs right into the next question actually here. What is the cash on cash return? What is cash on cash or COC? And you just kind of really broke that down. Where we at?
Yeah. Based on based
So
on
so
it's based on a long-term analysis. How much money do I put into this transaction? And then what's my return going to be against that over an extended period of time? because
Yes.
oftentimes in the note business, people are looking for what the annual yield is, and so what am I going to earn in the first year? But on a cash on cash basis, you're looking for a longer term horizon.
Hmm. Absolutely. That velocity of your money coming back at you full
Hmm.
force is
Exactly.
very important, man. So I mean, everybody look at it a little different as far as their numbers are concerned, man. I mean, we want something as high as possible. I want to get mine back as fast as possible. So we need to do some negotiations. We need to do whatever it takes, right? Now, kind of go back a little bit further. So when we talked about maybe people staying there for maybe 2, 3, 4 months or whatever the case is per unit, it's not like an apartment where you got to come in and do a lot of paint touch up, put some carpet down, all that type of stuff. Right? Well, the lock you ain't got to do the lock. 'Cause 9 times out of 10, the person's gonna take their lock. The worst case, you just cut it, right? So you might go in there with a broom and sweep it out, maybe. And if they didn't sweep it out, you keep the deposit.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
you keep the deposit. So
Yeah.
you just make the worst case scenario, somebody go in there and sweep it out or whatever the case is, take all of 10 seconds to sweep out a 5 by 10 or a 10 by 10, and you can quickly get somebody else into this particular unit. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And the other thing, Jay, which is always humorous to me, because there's some television shows that there's a cottage industry of people that go around and bid on these storage units where they haven't made a payment within 3 or 4 or 5 months. So the owner of the or the manager of the self storage facility will actually auction off whatever the contents of that particular property are. So in the agreements that are drawn up on a tenant basis, okay, you have to make your payment every month. If you miss 2 or 3 months, whatever that might be, you forfeit all the contents of that, give them a right to auction it off. And so that's another income stream, if you will, as far as that
Absolutely.
goes. And then you get somebody else who the winning bidder is to clean out the unit for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Stores Wars. Me and my wife, we
Oh,
watch
that's
that on
that's what it's called. Yeah, yeah,
on Saturday. We watch it all the time.
yeah,
Stores Wars, man, and
yeah.
it's so true. You can find some good stuff in there too. This is probably about 2002, man. We came last time we had moved to Texas, moved back, and came back, and so in 2002 we lost a 3 bedroom home worth of furniture
Wow.
and in the stores in Michigan. We ended up losing it because when I got down here, I couldn't find a job. It was chaos. So whoever, and then we had the furniture that was in a room that we never went in, so it was brand new, right? So whoever won that store, they won a good one, right?
Yeah,
We had all kind of stuff in there, so you can definitely find a good one, a good deal.
yeah,
Absolutely, that is so true. You lose it, you lose all the way around. You make money. The owner make money all the way around. You get the unit and whatever is the content in it, or if you want to sell it, whatever you want to do, he makes good money off of it. And the person who purchases it has to clean it out.
yep,
And there you go. You got another room ready to go. So yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So the question, okay, that was pretty cool, yeah, man. So the question is, so if storage facilities are so great, man, how do you find one of these things, man? What do we do to find a storage facility? You ever thought about that? So let me see if I can pull up.
Well, I
Well,
would I would think that some of the other commercial type exchange places like LoopNet or places like that, you could probably find them on there. Oftentimes, it could be a word of mouth type of situation, and then maybe a third thing is you build one yourself. And so, because I know that, banking facilities know the profitability of these, so financing one of those, especially if you show some sort of prior experience in real estate investing, I think there's financing the vehicles available for that. In fact, as looking back at what last week's topic was, you could actually probably develop a fund
yeah,
to fund these things out, build them for yourself, returns go back to the investor, or also an avenue for somebody like you that wants to finance one. You can, approach a fund to help you fund that on an acquisition or a development type basis. But again, that doesn't really address your question as far as how do you find these things. But I think most of the traditional models of locating properties would be very, very similar.
Yeah. I mean, Google is a great way to find them. Right, you can pull up storage facilities and whatever zip code is going to give it to you right then and there. Right, then you
Right.
just skip trace them, see who owns them, the LLC, and then see who owns the LLC, and send them a letter or give them a call. It's a great way to do it. Another one going through some brokers. Right, so let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Let's see, wrong way, wrong thing. What did I do? Nope, wrong one. All right, let's see here. Can I find it? Where we at? Where we at? Let me know if you can see my screen here. Where we at? I can't find it. Okay, there we go. Let me know if you can see if you can see my screen.
Yeah, find your next commercial property. Yeah, I see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It went away.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So with LoopNet, right? So here's a couple things you can do, man. A lot of times, man. I mean, of course, you can probably find something on here, but what I've learned though, a lot of times when you pull stuff like that from off of LoopNet, it's already been picked through. A lot of times they're not deals, right? But what you can do, you can quickly just punch in, wherever city that you're looking to buy, and just contact that broker. Let them know, hey man, I see you have storage facility on 123 Main Street. That property. I'm kind of looking for something that's kind of familiar or similar to that one. Do you have any more, or is there any broker in your area who have some, or whatever? Did you sell that one? Oh, it's not pulling up. Yeah, it's not pulling up. Let me do it again. Did you sell it? Right. Okay, can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay. So kind of this is that easy, basically. Just pull it up. You make it talk directly to the broker. See if they sold it, they didn't sell it. Just ask them some questions about the property, man, and ask them if they got any more. But there's tons of different software you can use for commercial investing that you can pull up the owner's information and everything. So all you gotta do now is you see that you have the address. You can go and pull up the LLC. I would say go directly to the broker in the situation, but not the broker. If the broker don't have it anymore, you go directly to the LLC. Pull up the LLC, see exactly who owns it, send that person a postcard or whatever you're going to do. Give them a call or whatever the case is, see if they're interested in stuff. Now, what I've learned too, man, that when you deal with commercial, man, people are more sophisticated, right? So it's not about emotion. My dad owned it for years, and a lot of times that's not the case. So if you submit them a decent offer, man, they'll at least consider it, right? Because they're investors like you are, right? So you can reach directly out to these people, man, and see if it's a good deal. But you can literally on LoopNet go into all 50 states, just sit at the dining room table making calls.
Yeah. Hey, and Jay, that particular one that's showing there, look at that. That's looks like, and I can't exactly see the whole property itself without looking into it. But look at that. That is a reasonable listing price.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like what the caption that was said there. It talked about some of the advantages in
Yep.
investing in a truly passive income opportunity with a 1031 exchange
Yep.
availability. So if you acquire this, you buy it at 300 grand. 3 years from now, you sell it at 500 grand. Then you have the opportunity to take that and invest it in a 1031 exchange with a like property at a later date.
Yeah.
So I mean those are two nice little advantages of investing in these type of facilities.
Yeah. So right here it says what's it? You can actually expand, like you just said. So 500 units, 75% climate control, 4.5 acre, partial acre, right? So 10-mile radius group, nearby 25%, 2010. So you can see a lot of the highlights on here. Of course, this is a performer, right? But here's the realtor's information. Tell them real estate aholic sent you, right? And give that person a call. Now, again, so you're dealing with on LoopNet and some of these different sites like this. You're dealing with people. I mean, it may not be a good deal. That's why it's here. Because
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, when you're dealing with a broker and they put stuff on here, I'm pretty sure they already sent it out to the people they thought was going to buy it. And if that person didn't buy it, chances are really not a good deal. But what you're after is building that relationship with that broker. So when something like that comes up, you be one of the first people that he or she reaches out to you. So that's important. That relationship is important. But sometimes these type of facilities right here comes with land too. Right, you
Yeah.
may have a piece of land where you can actually, lay down some cement or whatever the case is, and put on their boats. A lot of different things where people can park stuff out there. So it's revenue that you can bring to the property. Of course, raise that price up, man. So when you're ready to sell it, you snatch all that money out of there, man, or refinance, take money out, and go buy another one. That's your retirement plan.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and this looked like, I mean, this said 4.5 acres. And look at there, there's a facility right there, a covered facility for somebody's RV.
Yep.
So,
RV.
yeah, yeah, and RV storage is a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Man, my wife and I, we actually thought about that too, man. Rent an RV and just take off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it definitely can be done, guys. Definitely can be done. I think it's phenomenal, man. Storage facilities are phenomenal. It's you don't really hear about it, but people are out there doing it though, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
People are out there doing it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do this. Let's look at a video real quick. Um, I seen this gentleman here, man. He really kind of broke some things down to me and simplified it for me. So let's look at it because it's like a few minutes long. So we'll stop it in between and talk a little bit about what he's talking about here. So let me pull this up. Let me know when you can see my screen. Where we at? Where we at? Okay. Let me know if you see my screen.
Yep, I can. Uh-huh.
Okay. This gentleman's name is Nick Hubert. I guess the Nick Hubert show. And he just bought him a storage unit. And let's see what he has to say. Let me know if you can hear it.
Not yet.
You can't hear it?
Nope.
Okay, I had this issue the other day. Let me see if I can try it again. Okay. Okay, let me know if you can hear it now.
Not yet.
Huh. Wow, I thought I had this fixed. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, that's not it. Man, I'm sorry about that. I thought I had this thing fixed, man. Okay. Let me switch this over here. I know this look crazy. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Wow, this is a good video, man. I really wanted us to see this video here. Let me try it again. I know he's kind of talking a little low, so maybe that's the issue. Let me see. Mute user. Let me see. All right. Okay, let's try it again here.
Not yet.
Can't hear him, huh? About now.
Don't hear him yet.
It's still not working.
Oh, I thought
Ah.
I almost heard him.
All right, let me see if my sound is not working. Maybe my sound is not working. Testing. Okay. I'm sorry, man. I'm having this. I had the same issue last week, but it wouldn't. The sound wouldn't come on. So we'll just talk a little bit about what he has going on here. So this guy, man, he recently bought this self storage. I wanted to have him run through his numbers and all that stuff, but he recently bought the self storage, and it's an unmanned self storage, so it pretty much runs itself. So he has when you first pull in, it has like a board there where if you want to rent out a storage facility here, rent out a storage unit here, call this number or go on this website. So a person goes on the site and he says, "Look, I want a 10x5 or 5x10 or whatever the case is," and pays online, signs the contract online, and when that person does that, he gets a code to get in the gate.
Oh yeah,
Once
yeah.
yeah, once you get in the gate, you go to your unit, and when you open up your unit, there's a lock there too. So everything is right there for him. And he said since he had bought it like 5 months ago. He probably been there twice just to make sure everything was good, right? And so it's an unmanned deal. He don't even have to be there to do this, right? So
Totally
you
automated.
automated. So like you was
Yeah.
talking about that passive, there it is right there.
Yeah, that's an awesome
Yes.
concept. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I was like, man, that is pretty cool. So you imagine if you do purchase one of these from a small city, small town, or whatever the case is, you can literally do that from sitting where you at right now,
Yeah. For
right?
Mexico.
Now, yeah,
So
yes, sir, Mexico, right? Or and so he had one I thought was interesting too. So one of the rooms up towards the front, he had it as his stores, his own personal storage room where he kept some of the stuff that he needed, maybe extra paint or extra something, whatever the case is. And if somebody um, needed to go and make sure something was good or whatever, he just called his friend up who's not too far, or maybe call up somebody or whatever, come by there and sweep, make sure everything is good, take some pictures, and come on back. Right? They have this app online I've used before, but it's called I think it's called Good Get Out and Look. So like I'm a notary, right? So I have people may call me and say, "Hey Jay, can you just drive by my property? I'm in California. Can you drive by my property here in Dallas? Take some pictures for me, make sure everything looks good, and they pay me through an app." Right? So same thing in this situation. If I'm in that neighborhood, you just give me a call. "Hey man, can you drive past my such and such unit? Here's the code. Just walk it for me. Make sure everything is good." He never has to go. And if it's something extra he need me to do, "Hey man, if you sweep this out, I'll give you a $20, $30 bonus real quick." You do it all day long. So it's truly passive.
it's awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, man. Yes. Truly passive, man. So I thought you would like that. I know you into that passive, man, but that storage facility is phenomenal, man. It's a lot of different things with that. So I'm just sorry you couldn't hear it, man, but he really breaks it down. And
Yeah.
I had to fix it. I thought I fixed it this time, but I
Yeah.
didn't fix it.
And even in the short little bit we saw on that video, without hearing what he could say, what he said, you could see in several of the various scenes the variety of the storage units that he had to offer there. And so
Yes.
again, it's really appealing to the marketplace, which is what all this is all about. I have an RV. I want to store it. I just need an extra large closet. It looked like he had those ones where like 5x7. I could just put some things in there. I think that always also one of the things you may have said had to do with climate control. I think
Yep.
when we looked at that one on LoopNet, it was like 75% of them were climate control. And there's a lot of applications for, especially when you're in an area that has a high temperature fluctuation. So,
Yes. That's
yeah,
true.
yeah,
Let's try this now here. I think I may have fixed it. Let's see if this will work. If it don't, I'll make sure I get it together next week. Let's see. Let me know if you can hear this. Yeah.
no, sir.
Still can't hear it?
Nope.
Okay. All right. We tried.
Yeah. I was sure your
We
persistence was going
tried.
to pay off.
So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I hate to fail. So, but yeah, so he's a this guy. So he has multiple storage facilities, and I think it's him and another guy who actually purchased these properties, and it wasn't a lot of money that he bought it for either. All right, so it's truly passive, man. He can make
Yep.
some good money about doing it. So
Yeah.
imagine if you have this unit, you got people lined up ready to get in there. Only facility in the town. You can set your price pretty much. You can set your
Yeah.
price pretty much.
And the thing that's also interesting to me is that because almost everybody needs a storage unit,
Yeah.
that your marketing costs are minimal. I mean,
Yes.
you don't have to go out and, advertise in a number of different places. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, if it's a new facility, you want to get out and market that to begin with. But for the most part, the marketing costs are minimal
Yes.
because people need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he just has a sign. Of course, he has an online presence, right? Where
Yeah.
maybe have his website or whatever the case is. But he has a sign that somebody painted right in front of the building. So as people, it's big enough so when people coming down a little street or whatever, they can see that it's a storage facility. This is how you get in contact with it. But that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Website is a little bit of nothing, a couple $100, little basic page or whatever the case is, and the sign. There you go. You off and running. You off and running. So I think
I,
that's pretty huge, man.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So people that's tuning in, man, please like, share, and subscribe, guys. Hit that button, man. So you guys get, let us, you'll know when the next time we jump right on this thing. So, all right, let's keep rolling. So I definitely had another video or two I wanted to take a look at, but we'll get that together next time we jump on the call. So I have questions in. So, where we at? On the video that we just went over, the guy talked about a couple of things. He said there are two types of yields. So a leverage yield and an unleveraged yield. Are you familiar with that term?
Well, yeah, leverage basically refers to is there financing involved in it.
Correct.
So, as we kind of talked about a little bit before, there are banks out there that understand the profitability of these things here
Yeah.
that will finance that. And then the unleveraged deal would be ones that you bought for all cash. And, there's a couple schools of thought to that. One is if you leverage a property acquisition such as this, then you're not using up all your cash on one property, which gives you some flexibility to maybe acquire additional properties like this and finance all of them. Or is one enough? Is two enough? Do you have the capacity, the capital to buy one or two without dealing with a bank? Banks come with rules. And so a lot of it depends on your mentality and philosophy about how to acquire that. But, leveraging is really just kind of a way to say, have I financed this with somebody else's money, either private money or bank's money, or is it something that's just all out of pocket from my own capital?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. So the difference between the two is that just like you said, the leverage yield takes into account the income earned after the financing cost has been paid, while unlevered yields does not include financing costs. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're in a situation that you can actually cash flow this thing, and you see a lot of the money you can make off the deal, why not? But if you want to do it where you can leverage it and buy multiple properties possibly, why not do it that way or raise private capital to do it as well? So you're absolutely right. That's definitely important.
Yeah,
All
there's
right, so
in my mind is because kind of being a problem solver, which those of us in this industry really are problem solvers. We just
that's
try
it.
and solve other people's problems. There's so many different ways to approach that. You can buy one for cash, add some sweat equity to increase the value, then finance it, pull money out to go to another project. So there's and recapitalize yourself. So I mean, there's all sorts of things that fit within that written business model that we talked about earlier in the broadcast. So, I mean, again, you just need to think at a higher level and think like a business owner. And, one of the things that we always want to think about is how can I scale my business? You know, and so, so keep that in mind on any acquisition. Can I use this to scale my business at a later date?
Absolutely. That's important. The quicker you can get out your way, right?
Yeah.
You really can really enjoy what you're doing, man.
Yeah.
Right? You can make money while you're sleeping. It's always a good thing.
Yeah, and one of the
Always.
things that's been going through my mind is applicable here is the difference between working in your business and working on your business. And so if you continue to work on your business, then you don't get tied up in all the little details and all the little fires and that can happen in a figurative sense, of course. And so it's better to work on your business than work in your business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. See, I would say a lot of time, and I'm part of it as well. So people who are working in your business, right, is it's like you just basically you own your own job, right? You put yourself, you hired yourself. That's basically what you've done. When you're able to work, you say not in your business, but on your business, you can actually direct other people to do different things. So you can work, you can do twice as, sometimes 5 times more things by just doing that part.
Yep.
Being a great delegator, hiring some people to take care of some different things. So you're not tied down to the small, minute things, which is not minor because it can actually destroy you if it is not taken care of, right? But but you shouldn't be the one that's doing it.
Right. Yeah. Well said.
Yeah, you shouldn't be the one doing it, right? It's better to work on your business than in your business. Powerful words. Empire acquisition. Salute. That's so true.
Yep.
That's so true. And that's probably the biggest thing that you have to deal with when you first start your business. I say in general, but when you start your business, to get to that point to where you can kind of get up off a little bit, so now you can focus on what's coming, rather than got your head down and kind of digging the hole, so to speak, and
Hmm.
you're gonna fall into
Hmm.
it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So here's the great thing about this, right? So let's jump right into this. How to raise revenue. What are some fun ways we can do to raise revenue, man? We kind of talked about a little bit, right? So we talked about RV boat parking, right? So
Uh
most
huh.
people just think about a storage facility, don't think about these extra stuff as well. Like you RV, that's not cheap to store that because if it didn't have that canopy on it and some hail come through it, it can cost them thousands of dollars. So it has to be compensated to park that here, right? So that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, right? And it
Right.
doesn't need climate
Yeah.
control.
Yeah.
If it does need climate control, you can charge a lot more, right? So
Right.
boats. So yeah, boats. You got a boat. A lot of people don't. Even if you stand at home, and especially in these big cities or whatever, it's not a place to put a boat. So you got to find you a place to park, like a storage facility like this, to park your boat out there, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I think the other amenities that may go into one of these type of facilities. I mean, the first one that comes to mind for me is security. I mean, if you put some sort of security system in there, whether it's an automated thing like you referred to earlier, or cameras or anything like that, obviously that draws a greater value. If I'm going to store something in this that I know there's a higher level of security, uh, and that can translate into more revenue. You can charge a
Yeah.
little bit more if it's a secure facility. Now, most of them, of course, are secure to some degree,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of different things that can be added to that that would increase the security on that.
So what about insurance, right? Of course, you can have insurance on your property, but
Yep,
if you're paying insurance, you got to pass that on to your people as well, right? Which
yep,
means that your rent will be raised a little bit higher, so you can cover theirs as well.
yep,
But by you doing that, you're raising the property value up now.
yep,
So so there's multiple ways to actually do that.
yeah, yeah.
So go ahead.
Well, I was just also going to think, as I'm trying to think of ways, locations is a driver for revenue, you know, and I know a lot of people that like to buy land that is on the path of development. Well, because eventually, as the development reaches out to where you bought that land at, the same thing could be translated here in the self storage.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a facility that's just on the path of growth. And today you may be renting those things out at X number of dollars. But as the development catches up to where you are, then obviously you can increase your rents accordingly because of just now proximity and location.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. That's so true. What about some of the so-called small things that you can do, but also brings revenue as well? What about locks? We
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about
Look at that's a great
insurance,
list there. Yeah. Yeah.
U-Haul rental,
Yeah.
boxes, tape.
Yeah.
All these different things that you can use. Another one I was thinking about too. Hand trucks,
Hmm.
the dollies or whatever the case is. These things need to be rented. When people moving, they need these type of things, right? You could be that person, that company to actually provide those things for them.
Yeah.
What I've seen with U-Haul, right? They used to. I don't know if they still do this or not, but they used to have a cart along with some moving. Was it moving? What do you call it? Covers or whatever the case is in the back of the truck that they was renting. And if you broke the seal, then you pay for it. for the
Okay.
rental. But if you
Yeah.
didn't break the seal, you're good.
Yeah.
So you can actually have that, in, in maybe in a room out there, whatever, where a person want to purchase something like that, and you can charge for that.
Yeah.
Every dollar you raise, as far as revenue is concerned, that raises your property, that raises your investment.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing just popped in my head that's maybe not so much off topic, but we talked about the variety. What about these pod containers?
Wow. Yep,
Yeah,
that's another one.
those in some cases, if you have the right kind of property and the right type of organization, you know, those containers are of essentially mobile storage units.
Yes.
And so, if you and it's a lot easier for the tenants is because you can deliver that pod to their house, they can fill it up, and then you
Yep.
can take it right back out to wherever the property is itself, have
Yep.
some sort of organizational chart in the event that that tenant puts something in that box that they need at a later date. So that's another, flexible type of structure, if you will, about another way to do it.
Yep. That's
And that
true.
way you come to them rather than them have to fill up a pickup or rent a U-Haul to take all their stuff to that. So there's all sorts of various ways and just what the marketplace needs at that particular time.
Yeah. And again, a lot of this stuff you can do without actually physically having to be there. All that can be done like really online. A
Yeah.
person order that and it gets sent to their property. Gets wherever they're going to be, whatever the case is. So it
Yeah.
truly can be something that's unmanned situation and can generate a lot of revenue if they're done right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely important, man. That is something, man. That is something. So locks is where you imagine every person who buys a storage facility probably gonna say, I need a lock too.
Yeah.
I'm weird a little bit. I probably have 5 or 6 different locks, but average person probably don't have one,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
what are locks now? $5, $10 or something like that.
Oh,
That adds
probably.
up.
Yeah. Yeah. It does.
That
Absolutely.
adds
All
up.
those things are incremental.
Yeah,
And if you're turning that same unit over 2 or 3 times a year,
here, yeah,
yeah, there you go. So
times 50
that's all that.
units.
There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that is so true. Wow, wow, man, this becoming greater and greater, man. Ideal, man. The storage facility, man. So,
Yeah.
all right, so okay, so let's do this. So, here we go here. What are some of the expenses that we think about? Like, I know we see it's a lot. It's a great investment so far, but what are some of the things that can take money away from us in this situation? I, I,
Well,
I can think of. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead this time.
No,
You're up.
I can think of maybe a couple um maybe the neighborhood or whatever the case is, right? People breaking in these storage units. Um not having because you definitely gonna have to have cameras and stuff like that up. That's important.
Yeah.
Maybe person hitting the fences or whatever the case is, right? So you got to get those fixed. Hopefully you got the information through the cameras or whatever and know who to charge. I'm trying to think, what are some bad things, man?
Well, I think one of the things has to do with outside expenses, especially governmental expenses. If you own the property, you got taxes you're going to have to
That's
deal with.
awesome.
You have to have insurances to deal with this. And you have some situations where maybe there is a disaster of some sort, natural disaster. I mean, you live kind of real close to Tornado Alley. And so, you have those kind of things that you have to deal with. And so those are some maybe unique things that could come across and be an unusual expense that you'd have to deal with. So those type of things. Again, you talked about theft, burglary, things like that. That where people can come in and break in. You also have to deal with maybe some court costs that would be involved if you have a tenant who hasn't paid their rent for 2 or 3 or 4 months, and you have to go through that, repossession type activity, which will take some court costs before you actually can auction off that property. And so those are some of those things you have to deal with as well.
So I thought those things were kind of written into the contract.
Well, they are
Maybe
written into the contract, but then you still have to enforce the contract.
okay, okay.
And so there still is some things, just like in a mortgage note, there are provisions in there, make the payment, we're going to foreclose on you, but you still have to go through the court action to execute that foreclosure.
Got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not know that. I
Yeah.
did not know
Yeah, and I
that.
would think that the legality of that might be, geographically dependent. It might be different where I'm at in the state of Oregon than where it is where you are in the state of Texas. And so,
Gotcha.
Texas has are the laws in Texas. You find a majority of them are written in favor of the business activity. Okay,
Yeah,
it only takes 10 days or so to foreclose on a property in the state of Texas.
yeah,
Whereas in Oregon, the laws are written in favor of the consumer. And so it takes 140 days at the fastest for me to foreclose on a property in Oregon. And so a lot of that will be jurisdictional, and there might be some ordinances on the city books as well that will compromise that. But those are all part of the things that may detract is, I mean, am I in an area that's more consumer friendly, that's going to cost me more to kick that tenant out and take back that unit that I owe? Or is it going to be something where it's a little bit more favorable and I can do it at a greater speed? So those are all things that you'll have to find out as you develop your business plan within the area that you're going to focus on.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's huge. So I was thinking a little bit about this. They have storage facility software that you can get as well, so you can keep track of everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when that person should be moving out, all that good stuff. But yeah, all in all, man, I think storage facility is a great tool. Now there's a lot of people who kind of focus on it, but it's more people on the multifamily. So if you want to get away from the 80% of people going that way and go towards the 20% of the investments this way, I think it's a win. I think it's a win on this side.
Yeah.
It's a
I
win.
think the other thing is in the automation that we talked about, there is going to be some banking charges, of course, but you can
Absolutely.
set every one of your tenants up on an ACH and automatically withdraw, so you don't
Yes.
have to wait for them
Yep.
to send in a check.
Yep.
You just do an automatic withdrawal, and that's all set up at the initial application process. And until that check bounces or that ACH bounces, you basically have that income stream. So that helps with your cash flow planning too, knowing that
Yep.
you've got this ACH stream coming in as you have dictated on the 5th or 10th of every month.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, something that can actually take care of that, man, is Square. The
Yeah.
Square app, right? That's
Yeah.
what I use for a lot of my stuff as well. You can set it up to where it can automatically take it out of the account or whatever the case is. But here's the deal too. So let's say it goes to take out of the account. There's no funds there. Of course, you can charge late fees as well,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah. There you
so
go.
man, that is huge. That is huge. Man, I have, like I said, another video, man. I wanted to show you as well, man. But listen, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. so what do you think, man? You switching your investments now to come over to the storage facility?
I think if there's an opportunity to buy the paper that secures one of those, I certainly will.
Absolutely.
But again, I'm more on the finance side than
Yeah,
on the actual property ownership side.
yeah, absolutely. Now, what I've learned too, when you're dealing with the small storage facilities as well, a lot of these places are mom and pop. It may be
Hmm.
one owner
Hmm.
on these properties. So, of course, when you're dealing directly with mom and pop, you tend to get a better deal as well. And understand this is an investment as well. So, of course, you make your money on the buy, right? But if
Yeah.
you can do some things about, maybe put a little bit down and it depends on how you set this thing up, right? If it need a lot of work need to be done to it, of course you can do set it up to where you're doing interest only, maybe for 12 months or 24 months or whatever you decide to negotiate that, so that way it doesn't destroy you, right?
Yeah.
Set it up, man. Be
Yeah.
very think outside the box when you're doing these deals, man.
Yeah.
That's what I would tell you.
Yeah, and you made a kind of an important thought is that a lot of these owners are currently mom and pops, and so if as a real estate investor you have relationships with title companies and title officers and title representatives, they can run a farm for you to go in
Mhm.
and say, I'm looking at this 10-mile radius of properties. I'm looking for storage facilities owned by mom and pops that have owned it for greater than 5 years or whatever
Yep.
number you want to come with. And they can provide you with the farm, and that becomes your drip marketing campaign because eventually mom and pop may say, "Yeah, I'm ready to retire." And then that provides you perhaps with an opportunity to do some, buy that property on an owner finance situation. And again, helping that mom and pop sell their property on an installment contract on, say, owner financing, helps them from a tax perspective because it defers any capital gains that they may have to pay if they don't reinvest. And so you're paying them on a monthly basis where they're only going to have to pay capital gains based on an annual amount that you are paying them versus a lump sum on a large capital gains account. So that's a little bit of a strategy that just I came up as I was listening to you. Use your title insurance companies that you have relationships for, have that title representative, customer service representative, run a farm for you for all the mom and pop owned storage facilities within a 25-mile radius of where you're at. And then you can start sending those letters. I see you've got this. I'm interested in acquiring that. If you guys ever have an opportunity or desire to sell, or maybe now's the right time, please consider me. And then you send something out to them every quarter, just a reminder, market trends, any sort of stuff like that, all those value added things. And you will be the first person that they call once they make a decision to sell.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so true. That's so true. I mean, what I find, not even just in storage facilities, but also just in investing alone, if you put together a handwritten note, it kind of helps a little bit better too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't seem like it's something that you just typed up 1,000 of them and you send it all at once. But I mean, if you got 1,000 leads like that, you got to do what you got to do, right? You don't got all the time to write all of them out. But if you one or two that you're sending out, handwritten letter, let them know I'm interested in buying this property, whatever the case is, send it out. Normally what we like to do, so here's some proprietary stuff. We make sure that the note, the letter the paper that we sign on, right, that we write the letter out on, is something bright, maybe a bright yellow letter, or a bright orange letter, right? Make sure that the letter that we send out is a white one, so when he looks in the mailbox, it jumps out at him. Right? If we're in that neighborhood, normally what we'll do, we'll take a picture of the property, put it on there, right? Sometimes what we have done as well. I learned this from Jason Sims too. I hope he's listening. He sometimes he'll attach $1, one single dollar to it as well, right? And let them know. And sometimes he do the contract as well. Right, so he'll do the contract as well, and you send it to him, and more can come from that, right? You see, like that $1, you can get a lot more where that came from, right? Let's get this deal done, right? Now, what that does is separates you from everybody who's just sending a postcard, because he'll say, hey, honey, guess what I got in the mail today? This guy sent me a picture of my property and $1. Now you etched in their brain.
Yeah,
you know. So you have to think outside the box. You have to be noticed. That's the whole deal. You got to go outside the box. I had a guy, I heard this guy say one day, he used to have these little cheap cell phones. He just sent a few cell phones. And, hey, call me at this time, right?
Uh-huh.
I guess it worked a couple times for him, so I never done it, but So listen, man, storage facilities is a great tool. Next week, I will promise you my sound will be right. This is 2 times it got me. So never again. That got on me today. So
there we go.
But Brother Cox, you came through again. Brother Cox, you came through again, man. And you knocked this out of the park, man. Out of the park, like I knew you would, man.
Well, I appreciate that. It's my honor to be part of your group here, and I always I look forward to these every other week, every other Wednesday opportunities to sit and share and just associate with you and the rest of your team. We got to get on their case a little bit because it's a lot of fun when we've got 3 or 4 other folks talking about that, man. Because they all bring something unique to the conversation. And so I think that's important. So get on their case a little bit this week, Jay, and I'll kick their butt right along with you.
Absolutely. Now I gotta add this to you. So the other day I was on YouTube, right, and I seen this lady who's playing a harmonica, and she was jamming on that harmonica. I don't know if you remember seeing it. I tagged you in it. And I'm like, listen to this lady, man. I just thought about you, man. I say, man, that lady was jamming on that harmonica. Did you get a chance to see it?
I'm gonna go look for that when we hang up here.
Man.
So I'll go back and look for that. So
I've never seen nobody play like that before. Not a harmonica, but I had to throw that in there, man. So
I like it.
So listen, guys, if you guys like what you see or see what you like, man, give us a like, man. Go ahead and follow my guy here. Let me take this down so they can see your name and everything.
Yeah, and I
Um,
actually have a YouTube page myself.
yes, please,
Uh,
please tell them about it.
yeah, my YouTube page is called Funding Factors. That's basically a little used website company I have. That's kind of my marketing company, my media company, and so I've got some things in there. You can go and look up Funding Factors on YouTube. Hopefully, as I get going a little bit more in a couple of other areas, we will add more content to that. But you can always follow me there.
Funding factors, guys. You guys
Yep.
heard it.
Yep.
This man is a wealth of knowledge. Work with him. Work with him. And we got some stuff that's coming up here pretty soon as well, man. We're gonna bring some people to this thing here, man. Especially what you got going on, Cody.
Yeah,
So,
they'll be
man,
fun. They'll be fun. I'd love to bring
absolutely.
it to the group just so they can see and learn and ask questions.
Absolutely. Now, if you guys want to reach out to me, man, please do. Hit me in the DMs, man, or give me a call at 972-836-9814. That's nine. You know what? I said the wrong number, man. Let me give you this number. 972-836-9814. That's 972-836-9814 for a consultation for residential or commercial. I'll help you guys out, man. Do all I possibly can. You want to be a part of the show? Let us know, man. Reach out to us, man. If you got a specific type of skill when it comes to this residential or commercial or land or whatever the case is, we want to know about it. If you got a deal out there that you want to pitch out to our group, let us know. We want to hear about that as well. We may be interested in purchase. We got a bunch of buyers that be on the show. So funding. Shout out to everybody, man. A part of Real Estate Aholics, man. And hopefully everybody be back in 2 weeks, man. And Cody, salute to you.
Thank you, my friend. Always a
Real Estate
pleasure. All
Aholics.
right.
See you guys later. Peace.
Talk to you later.
All right. Bye. What's going on, everybody? Hey, man, just got the call with Real Estate Aholics, man. Hey, man, a lot of great information. Cody is definitely a wealth of knowledge, man. Definitely reach out to that guy. He buys notes, man. He knows a little bit about everything real estate. So at the very least, reach out to him, man. Ask him some questions. Tell him you heard from Real Estate Aholics. Um, if you need me in any capacity when it comes to this real estate thing, man, reach out to me directly. My number is 972-836-9814. That's 972-836-9814. So from coaching, wholesaling, residential, commercial, storage facilities. For consultation, reach out to me as well. I'll send you my calendar as well. Get you on there, 30-minute call, man. Get you right, right? You want to join our Patreon as well. Let me see you guys. Let me post this here. So that way you guys be on the Patreon. We got a lot of stuff on there, man. A lot of jewels that are being dropped on it as well, man. It's like to support the channel is like $10 a month. It's a month-to-month deal. And also the Patreon group, we're getting ready to start back doing some dinners here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and to where everybody's part of the Patreon group when we have a dinner. So we'll throw an address out there, such and such time of this month or whatever. We're gonna do a dinner or sit down and have a beer together with everybody who's part of the group, and we'll hop around different cities in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But it's gonna be a non-disclosed area, right? So it's exclusive for the Patreon group, and you never know who's gonna be there. So you need to be a part of this thing. Come on board. We give you all this information, man. You're going to do with what you will. Now, here's the thing. I know you guys be hearing about a lot of different things that's going on out there, man, with these fake, quote, gurus in real estate. We're not charging any money. Yeah, that's a news flash. No money. We're not charging any money to learn how to do this business at all, right? We're just giving the game out. You have questions, you can go right to our Patreon group as well. We also have what else? We got some different things that's on here, man, that you guys can glean from. Get your money up, man. Let's go make some money. Maybe next year or later on this year or the end of this year, whatever the case is, we'll be somewhere in Bahamas sipping mahi, man, doing deals together, right? That's the goal, all right? Hey, salute to you guys, man. I'm Jay Wicker, man. Holla at your boy. See you guys at the title company.